Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the second episode of Behind the Business. I'm your host, Jason Manarinter, and I am so excited to be talking to Dave today. Dave is my business partner and joined up about 2 years ago, a little bit maybe longer than 2 years ago. And I've known Dave for probably, Dave, over 15 years?
Yeah, over 15 years.
And so I thought it'd be nice to let him talk about his background and, let him tell his story. The funny thing is, I've known Dave for so long, and I still feel like I don't really know your story, Dave.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people do.
I feel like you're, a little closed and
Private.
Private, yeah, private's the right word. Yeah, I'm excited to see what you have to say today about your life. So yeah, let's get this going. Funny thing is, me and Dave have actually worked a few jobs together. Mm-hmm. And one of the first one was, which one was that, Dave?
Yeah, so we worked at Tim Hortons together when we were 14 or something like that.
Yeah.
That was our first job at actual company. And then our second job that we worked at was at Superstore. So me and Jason have been working together for a while now.
We also worked at that bubble tea spot together.
Oh yeah, the after school bubble tea spot that we used to work at in Westbrook Mall.
I just remembered that. That's crazy. I didn't even realize we worked at that's Timmy's Superstore,
Bubble tea.
The bubble tea spot.
Yeah.
So that's crazy, man. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, it's funny because I think we also quit Tim Hortons at the same time as well too. We just didn't come in for that one weekend, and our phone was just blowing up from the owner. They're like, "Where are you guys?" We just didn't show up.
I remember that actually. We called each other and we were so mad because we didn't want to work or something, and they made us work. Mm-hmm. We both
Yeah, we both agreed to just be like, "All right, we're not showing up. Just don't answer your phone."
Yeah.
So we just didn't show up to work that day.
I totally forgot about that too.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you do after all that?
So just before that, I was doing a lot of plumbing before with my dad. I worked a lot of plumbing during the summers when I was a kid. And then after that, my dad didn't want to pay me as much as I could have been. So that's why I switched to Tim Hortons and started working with us. But then after that, yeah, we worked at Superstore. And then I think I started working at clothing stores. So I was at Mex, Guess, some other random things.
I did not know that at all.
Yeah. So I think that was just at the end of high school or the first year of college. And then I started getting into sales actually through Rogers, and I started doing cell phones then. So I worked at Rogers, TELUS.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't.
So yeah, definitely kind of nurtured me a bit in the sales aspect of that, just knowing your product and how to sell it. So I think I was 17 or 18, it was just out of high school. So I worked that for a year or two while I was still in college. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, so I was doing that for a bit.
Yeah, because I know we kind of, for 3 years or so, when I was in U of L, we kind of lost touch. I would say we still talked, but definitely not as much, right?
Yeah, definitely when you moved away to Lethbridge, I saw you less just because you were down there more.
Yeah.
And when you came up, I'd see you here and there. But yeah, we didn't talk for a little bit just because of the distance of school and stuff.
Yeah. I just want to bring this up too. Dave actually has a scar on his face.
Yeah.
Okay, and I wanted him to talk about that too. Because when I first met him, he didn't have that. Yeah, tell us how you got that scar, because I remember telling everyone you got chopped up in the face, so not to mess around with you.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely was a topic of conversation with people because they didn't know where it was from, and then they were always scared to ask. But when I was 14, I was in a car accident just on 4th Avenue coming over the 4th Ave bridge. Mm-hmm. And someone ran a red light and they T-boned us. And then I hit my face so hard on the glass that my skull split my face. I had a centimeter gash on my face. I had to get 97 stitches in.
Yeah, he is, it's across, it's literally from
my eyebrow all the way to my chin.
Yeah. And at that, how old were you then?
I was 14.
Yeah. He basically had 97 stitches.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of friends came and visited me in the hospital and stuff like that. I was in there for 2 days, so pretty banged up.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
After like getting into such a serious car accident, like how was that? How did that impact you?
Yeah, the impact of that was just like whiplash, pain. I had, what's it called? I had like migraines. I had pretty bad headaches in school. What else? Just like soreness. I had to get massages for like years. I had to get plastic surgery on my face, probably like 10 times just to reconstruct it, get it normal again. But yeah, it was just like kind of back and forth. And that was just through junior high all the way to high school. So I just had, it's been a part of me, I guess, for a long time.
Did that, when you were in the hospital or anything, did you think about anything, or what, like, did that scare you and reflect about life at that age? Did you think you were going to die? Like what happened?
So honestly, what happened was when I got hit, I lost like 8 hours of my life. I literally remember just driving over that bridge and then waking up in the hospital and my dad telling me like I was in a car accident. And then I remember going to the washroom and like looking at myself in the face. It was just so swollen, I didn't even recognize myself. So it was a little bit surreal, but I mean, within a week, like the swelling was down and like my face was back to normal again. So yeah, it definitely had an impact on my life, but also in a positive way as well too.
How so?
Yeah, so like that car accident actually was what kind of got me into real estate, was because when it was all settled out and I got paid out from it, I got a decent sum of money from that, but I wasn't allowed to use it. So what my parents actually helped me do was invest it for me in real estate. And like I actually acted as like a property manager and stuff like that for those properties and whatnot. So that's just kind of how I got into it.
Yeah, because even right now you are still managing those properties, and I know you still have them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So at what point did you want to get into real estate? Because I remember I was actually your realtor when you purchased some properties. So what happened? Because like, yeah, if we go back, what happened? Because you went to school, didn't you?
Yeah. So my background's actually in chemical engineering. So I went to school for that at SAIT, and then I finished school in 2010. But during that time, it was still like a major recession as well too. So and things didn't recover until 2012. So I was still working with my dad at that time doing plumbing like every day until then. And then what happened was I ended up getting a job in oil and gas with a company called Schlumberger. So I worked for them for 4 years, and then I got back into Calgary.
You were with Schlumberger?
Yeah, Schlumberger, yeah.
Is that what year was that you were leaving? Because I thought you left to a different company or something.
So I moved to Edmonton in 2012, and I was there till
you moved to Edmonton. I forgot about that.
So I was gone for 3 years. But I also kind of had real estate in the back of my mind, because back in 2012, when there was like no jobs happening, my mom was like, hey, you should go into real estate. And I was like really contemplating at that time. And I was like, should I go into real estate? But what happened was I ended up getting a job with this company, and I was like, I might as well try it out, because I went to school for so long and I didn't really give it a chance. So I ended up working for this company for 3 years, and like they sent me all over the world and stuff like that. So it was a good opportunity in that sense.
And so when did you come back to Calgary?
So I came back in the beginning of 2015. I transferred over to a oil and gas company called Wood Group Mustang. So I worked with them for 6 months while I was finishing my real estate license. And then I ended up getting laid off, because that's when the second recession hit. Yeah, like I got laid off, and I was just like, okay, well, now I have this real estate license. I might as well just try this full time. And that's just how it's been like for the last 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, because I remember we were looking at properties while you were at that company.
Yeah, Schlumberger. So like in
Was it
2013,
Schlumberger, or?
yeah.
Yeah.
So when I came back, and I used to come back every 2 weeks from the job site, and then that's when real estate was kind of picking up, and Jason was in it. And then what happened was I was like, hey, let's go look at some properties. And Jason had just bought some stuff, and I went to go take a look at them with him, and then we ended up buying like 2 places within like a week. So Yeah, that's how Jason was representing me as my realtor, and that's how we kind of reconnected again after Jason leaving from school, and also me moving away and then coming back. So,
And I remember as we were looking at properties, you kept telling me you're going to get your license.
yeah,
And I just didn't believe you.
yeah, he told me not to get it.
Did I tell you that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I said you should try. I think I told you to try it out.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I remember at that time, I think I was so overwhelmed with work. I don't know if I did say that to you, but yeah, I think
It was it was good though. Like I talked to a few people about it, and they were like, yeah, you should definitely just try it out and see if you like it. So that's just kind of how I got into it, and I've always been into real estate. I got into it from reading like Rich Dad Poor Dad from high school.
we connected with that too because we always kept talking about that book. I felt right.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the fundamentals of real estate and real estate investment. So Jason and I both read that in high school, even though we didn't really understand it fully. But,
No. Well, we didn't really understand it, and then we just started trying to implement it. I felt at the same time, right?
Yeah.
We were just.
It's tough when you're a kid and you're reading this stuff and you're like, you have all these hopes, but then it's different when you actually kind of grow up and you're deep into it. You actually see how this stuff actually works and come into play from your experience. So
For sure. So you just got laid off. Did you have your real estate license? Because what happened when you got laid off? Were you working on your real estate license?
So what happened was I was on EI for 9 months, and in that time I just like worked every day for 4 months and got my real estate license. And then by the time that I was finished, like I had my first deal ready to go within that same 2 weeks, and I was just like lucky that everything just kind of fell into place, and I was able to just make a seamless transition between oil and gas to real estate.
Yeah, because I remember when Dave was becoming a realtor too, he actually joined the same company with me because we kept talking, and that was Maxwell. So I do remember that, and I remember you wanted to be partners, and it just didn't feel the right time for me.
Yeah.
And you were pretty persistent on that. I remember to join up, and I remember I told you I was like kind of leaving, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, maybe I think you need to figure out how you want to be as a realtor, right? So when you were at Maxwell, you were there for about what, 4 or 5 months or something, and then
I think I was there for like 6 months. So what happened was Jason was on his way out. I'd signed up with them, and then I realized that like it wasn't really a brokerage for me, just because it didn't suit well with me. So I ended up, after 6 months, I ended up leaving to Remax.
And we're at Remax now. And so how was that move for you, and how was real estate for you the first couple of years on your own?
The first year is always tough, I guess, especially with any new business. But I mean, within the first year, I kind of learned about it. I started talking to other realtors that I knew that were in the industry. So they were just kind of mentoring me and giving me advice on things to do. So once I started getting into the hang of things and it started just becoming consistent, then I ended up going to Remax, and mostly just for the brand and just the association of Remax itself. So
so during this whole time, me and Dave are still talking, and he's so persistent on like partnering. And I think I don't know what was the year, 2.5 years ago. When did we
2017 we ended up partnering up. Like Jason was at another boutique brokerage, and he ended up coming to Remax. So yeah, it was about two and a half years ago.
Yeah, I remember when, like, how did we even join up and decide that we were going to work together? I don't even remember that, man.
Yeah, so what happened was, the reason why I was telling Jason before was because we have a lot of the same friends. Networks and mutual friends. And I felt like we were competing against each other for the business. And I told Jay, we can give them a choice to work with either of us, or we can just give them no choice to just work with both of us, because now as one entity, there's no other option to really go with. So no one has to pick and choose anymore. Like it's just like essentially one entity
For sure.
to work from. And that's how we kind of partnered up. And once we started realizing that, we ended up creating our partnership. And then that's when YYC Real Estate Group started.
I feel like we didn't even discuss much detail with partnering.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it just kind of was like, yo, I'm like, hey man, I think I'm ready. Do you want to do this? And you're like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, because you were busy with your own stuff.
Yeah.
And you were a partner in another business as well too. So I think the time that it took for us to come together, which it just worked out. Jason was busy, I was busy. Like, we were both doing a lot of traveling as well too, and it's really tough when you're running a business on your own doing real estate, and you also really want to travel as well too. So it kind of gave us the opportunity to like soften the workload with each other,
For sure.
and also have the freedom to still do the things that we want to do.
Yeah. I think it took about the first year just to feel each other out, to work out the kinks and stuff. It was it's interesting joining up with a friend.
A lot of growing pains and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of growing pains, and it's like you're dating each other.
Yeah, well, like I don't think I've talked I don't talk to anybody else more than I talk to Jason on a weekly, daily basis. So
seriously, it's pretty funny actually if you think about it. All right, now that takes us right to YYC Real Estate Group. And now let's start talking about behind the business with YYC Real Estate Group, what it's like for us, and how I feel like we've come so far. But if you actually put a timeline on it, it's only been 2.5 years.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we've been going at this for a long time, just for like what we've accomplished and what we've done in our time together. So it's actually pretty crazy just to see that it's been under 3 years for that. So
yeah, and I feel like at this time, like at this moment, there's just actually so much more to grow.
Mm-hmm. There's like a lot of stuff that we're doing right now that it's continuing to keep on growing the business. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, definitely. Why don't we share what, maybe if someone is looking to partner up with someone or join a team, what are some things me and you have learned about partnership and like working together and like doing business together as real estate? What would you say comes to your mind, Dave? Something you would share that we've learned and grown from?
I think something that comes to mind is just understanding that we're both very different people, but we are here together for a common cause, which is to help people out with real estate. And once you kind of understand that, then you get that we're not the same, and we do things differently, but we also bring a lot to the table in different ways as well too. So you just kind of find this way to kind of mesh together and kind of grow from it as well too. I think that's how it's like in any relationship.
Yeah, I think the first year, I've been in a lot of businesses, right? And what I've realized is like the first 6 months, it's like it's all good, right? Mm-hmm. It's all like, oh, it's all excitement. It's
like the honeymoon stage.
Exactly. It's the honeymoon stage, and you're just like trying to do everything, and whatever says goes for both parties, right? Mm-hmm. Or for all parties involved. And then 6 months in to about another year, I think is where you really start to see the other person and how you guys can work together, mm-hmm. and if you guys can actually work together.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, like we definitely have our strengths and weaknesses, but I find that we contrast each other in that. So it kind of creates this like one whole unit where it functions really well, but you just kind of have to work with what works and what doesn't work. So it's just understanding that and knowing these differences, and that's just who we are and whatnot.
Yeah, I think one major thing I've learned was like, yeah, we are very different, and we don't need to do things the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, but we are. I think we are working towards the same goal. And that takes a long time to actually, I feel, accept.
Yeah, and create as
Create,
well, too.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's a lot of communication and it's a lot of understanding, but it took us a while to get there. I feel after the 6 months where there was like, okay, what now? And like, how are we gonna do this? Pushing everything forward.
Yeah, exactly. I think what it came down to was we created like the big picture, which was a common goal of what we wanted to achieve as a group, and what we wanted to do as a team as well too, like in our personal lives and also in our business as well too. So once we figured that out, we just worked towards that. And if there's anything else that is kind of dragging us down or lingering in that, there's this open space for us to have that communication where we can accept feedback and also not feel anything about it, and also be coachable about things that like the other person sees that may be beneficial for them. And I think that's where we benefit a lot and create this business from that.
Yeah, I think that's our advantage, where I think me and you are really into self-development and really looking at ourselves and reflecting and like growth, right? And I think that was something that I didn't actually realize that you were into that till like maybe a year or something in, where I was like, okay, at least we both are willing to learn and grow, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like we're definitely coachable. Things like we read a lot of books. We take courses, like especially as a realtor, like you have to take a lot
you
of
have
courses,
to as real estate for sure,
just to grow and to learn and get the experiences as well. So it's like it's nice to work with a partner that is willing to grow at the same time and not feel any type of way about something. So,
and actually what I just got present to also was, I think initially when you were asking me to partner, I've been in a lot of businesses, right? And I was hesitant because I was like, I just don't want to jump into another partnership right away, right?
yeah, exactly.
And I was moving around and still trying to find my place too. And I think that's a huge thing too, is if you are going to partner up with someone, maybe you should gradually get into it. I'm pretty crazy where I used to just be like, let's do it, whatever, right? And then figure it out later, right?
Jump in head first.
Yeah, but I've definitely learned a lot with that, and everything happens for a reason. But I think that's another thing too, if for people that are looking for a partnership or to create a business, is who are you working with, and can you see yourself working with this person long term? I didn't really think about that, but I was like, I've known Dave for so long, let's just like, I think we can make this work.
Yeah, exactly. I think the other thing as well was that, like, I know Jason works hard, I work hard as well too. We're willing to put in that work, and like I think that's the biggest thing in a partnership, is to put in that work and also know that the other person is going to do the same as well too. So
yeah,
I think that's like how that we've just been growing the business and keeping things rolling, because we know that we both have a common goal and cause that we want to create for this business. So
for sure. The next episode, we're going to talk about the struggles and the triumphs of being a realtor, and actually talk about behind the business as being a realtor. There's a lot of up and down with that, with being a realtor, that I don't think people understand. Hey, Dave?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about being a realtor, and I guess we'll bust those myths.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely bust those myths, because I feel like there's a perception about realtors that I just want to get clear about. So I'm excited for that episode, and yeah, stay safe out there, guys.
Have a good one.